prepare your hearts. This is where I'm really wrong.
Really big. So
Hey everyone, welcome to Nicole Reacts, where I, Nicole, react to online marketing gurus that I find on the internet, or in this case, that I know very, very well. My qualifications for snark and commentary are that I've owned a marketing company for 15 years, and in that time, I've worked with hundreds of clients on marketing strategy and implementation. So I have a fair bit of knowledge and experience related to social media, email marketing, blogging, um, content management systems, search engine optimization, and that kind of thing. So today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm reacting to one of my own videos. So exactly 1 year ago, almost at this time, I recorded a video about what I thought the marketing trends were going to be in 2022. Thinking, oh, maybe I'll do something with it at the end of the year. So here we are at the end of 2022. And naturally, I got to see what I'm right about, even if it involves watching me on video, which is admittedly awkward. So this video is called Hot Takes in Marketing / Online for 2022. It is approximately 22 minutes. And let's see what past Nicole had to say about what marketing was going to be like in this past year and what I was right and not right about. I definitely remember at least one thing I was wrong about, so that'll be fun. Anyway, let's go.
hey everyone, welcome to the Ask Nicole weekly live stream.
Oh my God, my thumbnails have gotten so much better. A couple of appearance things, because people do definitely make appearance comments on my videos. Not a lot, but I'm sure as my audience grows, those will happen more often. But a couple of things here. First of all, I hadn't figured out the background at the office yet. It's a co-working space. I share the space with other people. I can't put up like weird wallpaper there because other people have to look at it too. So I think I figured out my background a lot better for when I film in the office. You'll see in recent videos where there's that dark blue background, you'll see that my background is a lot better. Also, at this point, I was trying fake eyelashes. I was trying to see if I was like a fake eyelash girl, and I definitely am not. I mean, I'm glad I tried it. That was part of my journey. So these eyelashes, while larger and more beautiful, are definitely not my real eyelashes. And, it's funny because I started working with a trainer about 8 or 9 months ago. I mean, I've struggled with my weight my whole life, but mainly I wanted to work with a trainer to sort of, I don't know, get my body back. And by get my body back, I mean like the feeling of being good in my body and being strong and all that. And I really like let go of the idea of weight loss because I've tried so many things that haven't worked. But I really see it in my face. Like it seems like I've lost them in my face. And that's kind of interesting. All right, let's continue.
My name is Nicole Willette. I'm the owner of Breaking Even Communications, which is an online marketing company. And we mainly help small businesses and nonprofits do more online. That might be staff training, that might be taking on some of the marketing tasks, that might be some consulting. So if you feel like you could use our help, feel free to reach out. If you are looking for this content, we've been doing these broadcasts for over a year now, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, for almost 3 years. Oh my God, that was quite the pause trigger. For almost 3 years, I did a weekly live stream and almost no one watched it. So I discontinued it. So this is one of those. That's why it feels a little bit different than the Nicole Reacts videos do.
So there are some organized playlists on the YouTube channel. That's probably the best place to find it. But wherever you're watching this now,
Jessica was like, why don't you put these on the website? I was like, good point. So we did start putting them on the website after this. And there is a playlist there. My God.
There is probably past archives of some sort. So today I wanted to talk to you about my hot takes for 2022.
Yeah.
Now, January of 2008 is when I got my very first client. Like it was just me in the company and I got my first paying client. So that was 14 years ago this coming January. And I realized that over the last 14 years, I've definitely been right about some things and I've definitely been wrong about some things. And so rather than telling you that I was right, I thought I would record what I think is going to happen in 2022 and get your feedback on it because that would be great. But also so I could see next year if I was right or not.
And here we are.
Let me talk very briefly about things I was right and wrong about in the past.
Okay, I'm gonna skip this part because it's kind of boring. But basically, my whole thing here is that I have made some good sort of business and marketing predictions in the past. I haven't recorded them anywhere, but like these are, and then I've made some bad ones. So, me picking WordPress as the winning website software, open source website software from Drupal and Joomla when they had almost equal market share, that was luck and Matt Baya convincing me probably. And then I think one of the things I mentioned in here was that like I was super into Foursquare and I really thought it was going to be a big thing. But Foursquare kind of petered out when people were using it to like see when people weren't home and stuff. So anyway, I'm going to skip this part. Okay, I was right about the rise of live video. I was right about picking, yeah, Foursquare. I was wrong about Foursquare. Jeez. I was wrong about Squarespace and other website builders taking a pretty big market share. Okay, I think this is where it starts.
You think any of these are going to be wrong or super right, or if you have other predictions, please leave them in the comments because I would love to hear from you. Okay, so this is my hottest take. Okay,
All right.
I'm just going to start with that. So if you don't watch the rest of the video, that's fine. I think Instagram's going down.
Ha! And it's even worse now.
I say this for a few reasons. And the main reason I'm saying this is because the business decisions I feel like they've been making over the past year, rather than being proactive or user driven, have been reactive and have been driven by what other platforms are doing.
Preach, past Nicole. Yeah, they've just been trying to rip off like TikTok, and then they've added this weird like captions to stories thing that makes the bubbles look really stupid. I'll put one on the screen right now so you can see what I'm talking about. And maybe you've seen these and been like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know what those were." Yeah, they've just been making progressively terribler decisions. But I feel people being increasingly annoyed at Instagram. But it won't entirely die ever. And I'll get into that into my predictions for next year. But yeah, Instagram, I bet when I pull up a graph, has gone down even more than it had at this point.
They're like the kid who, buys all the same clothes and stuff as the other kids in the class rather than kind of cultivating their own style. It feels inauthentic, and I think that just shows that they don't quite know what to do, because if they had a strong direction, I feel like they would just go in that direction. From a marketing standpoint, Instagram is really annoying because it takes a lot of my time as a marketing person to maintain for my clients. First of all, there's 4 formats of content. There's stories, there's in-feed posts, there's reels, and there's IGTV. So, and some of these pieces of content are specific to the platform, which means I am spending a lot of time creating Instagram content. Whereas I can just go on Twitter and write a tweet and be done with it. I don't have to like format it 4 different ways for it to like be visible to different people. My other beef with Instagram, besides having a lot of different formats of content, is that they release features to some people sometimes. And what that makes it hard to do, obviously, is sort of standardize how I approach something. So, for example, some of my clients have 30-second reels. Some of them have 15-second reels, and some of them don't seem to have the reels option at all.
Oh my God, yeah. So at this time, I had a client who had a monthly publication that they put out as part of their sort of business. And what we were trying to do is get different people in the company to record the story and the reel every month. And to make it fit into reels, it had to be 15 seconds. I don't know if you've ever tried to coach corporate people on how to be upbeat, say points of information, and stay within 15 seconds, but it's pretty hard. And I remember this one time, this poor guy was really trying his best, and I ended up doing some editing to kind of make it work. And then when I went to upload it, they had changed it from 15 seconds to 30 seconds. So I could have given this guy 30 seconds, but Instagram just decided to change it. So yeah, I'm still annoyed by stuff like this.
So, yeah. I know that they want some people to feel unbelievably cool by getting some features first, but honestly, it just really turns me off. It's like the velvet rope at the club. Like, I just feel like I'm too old for this crap, honestly.
Yep.
And the other thing is that their stats for reels and stories aren't really part of their API. So I use reporting software for my clients. And what I have to do is like open up Reels, for example, take a screenshot and put that picture in the report for the client.
Still,
You
yep.
know how stupid that looks when everything else is in these nice graphs? Like open up your API Instagram.
Yep.
So yeah, so basically
Still true and still annoying.
they're making my life as a marketer very annoying. And so it makes me not want to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is going to happen is that eventually Instagram is going to morph into a completely different thing. Like maybe they're only going to do like live shopping videos, or they're only going to like have a certain kind of biz. Like I don't quite know what they're going to do, but before they do anything, what I'm predicting is that user growth is going to plateau, engagement's going to go down, daily logins are going to go down. Before they change anything, they're going to have to see things massively slow down. I think.
All right. You know what? We're going to look at this right now. All right. So I found some data, but I really wish I could find better data than this. But we'll go through it. This graph shows the projected Instagram growth in the United States. Okay. So this is excluding obviously other parts of the world, and this is projected because this data came out in April of 2021. So anything 2021 on, you'll notice has a little asterisk next to it if we hover over it. Now, what you'll notice is that there's still positive growth theoretically. Even in 2023, it's 1.8% growth. But you'll see that the graph shows that the rate of growth is going down. So I predicted it was going to level off in 2022, and it looks like it's kind of starting to, because the difference between 2.2% and 1.8% is more of a flattening off. So it looks like that's potentially happening. The other thing I wanted to look at was engagement rate, because I noticed that a lot of people have noticed a drop in their Instagram engagement rate, right? Like I used to post stuff and people would see it, and now like 5 people see it. So this is the average Instagram engagement rate by industry. I'm sorry, that's kind of small. I want to still be able to see the whole graph. But like by industry. So there's alcohol, fashion, etc. So the median across all industries is 0.98% engagement. Okay. So this is for 2021. And then below it, it says in 2021 notes that Instagram engagement rates have dropped by 25%. So for influencers, though, that engagement rate per post is much higher, 1.42%. But this rate surpasses Facebook 0.19% and Twitter 0.04%. Okay. Now we look at the same graph in 2022, right? So 0.98 was 2021. Now it's 0.67. So we're definitely seeing a lower rate of engagement. This might sound a bit shocking, but Instagram engagement rates fell by about 30% this year. But the good news is that Instagram engagement is still higher than Twitter or Facebook. Okay. So I was predicting a flattening out, a lower engagement. It definitely seems like we're getting that here. To what extent, obviously, depends on how many followers you have, your industry, and all that. But still, Instagram is going down. It's not going to drive off a cliff. It's going to peter, I think. I think that's what Past Nicole is trying to get at here.
I think they're starting to see it, but I think they can ride it out. They're not going to be able to ride it out as is.
Yep.
They're going to have to make some pretty massive changes.
Yeah, and they're not making those massive changes.
And that starts, I think, with making features accessible to all people, opening up their API, and rather than trying to replicate TikTok, trying to think about what need that they are serving in the marketplace. I know Facebook has been a little bit distracted with, all of their controversies. They're rebranding as Meta, I think, for that reason. But
yeah. I think this is when the woman came forward, the Facebook whistleblower. I think this is around this time.
Yeah, I predict Instagram is going to become a less relevant platform in 2022. That's my hottest take. I alluded to live shopping a second ago, but currently one of the fastest growing apps online is a online sort of live stream shopping app. Think about like if we all had our own QVC shows. That's what it's going to be like. And the whole like rise of live video has prepared us for this, but this is the next part of the evolution is that, people are going to want to shop over video, and small businesses are going to basically be their own sort of TV personalities showing off their products and services. And I think we're going to see more of that across the social media platforms, like across Facebook and Instagram and all that. But then I think we're going to see completely new apps pop out that just specialize in this, that are built for it, um, continuing to increase their user base and continuing to increase the amount of people who are broadcasting.
So I think this is coming. I started recently managing a much larger YouTube account than mine that has monetization. And one of the options I noticed was the ability to tag products when I upload their videos. So I think that the technology is starting to get there within social media platforms. But kind of where I was noticing this happening more than other places is on Amazon. That these like influencers have their own like stores, but they also have their own sort of shopping channels within the Amazon platform. So I'll maybe include a screenshot there, but I really thought this would be more on social media than it is, I'll be honest. So I would say that I think this is coming, but not quite yet.
So I see this is where kind of small business stuff is going. So I don't know, get your ring lights ready. This is live video isn't going away. I think it's just going to morph into a little bit more of a shopping situation.
I still think that's true. I think it just hasn't happened yet.
This other prediction is something I sort of hope is going to happen, and I have some ideas of how it could happen, but I'm not exactly sure what I sort of know this is the outcome that's going to happen. I don't know the execution of this outcome. So increasingly, we're being expected as business owners to not only maintain social media platforms and more of them, but also we're getting messages. We're getting messages on Google My Business. We're getting messages on WhatsApp. We're getting messages on, the normal, social media stuff we use, Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. We're getting an increase. So I think what something has got to give, because there is a certain amount of content and bandwidth to read or engage with content that all of us have, and I think we're pretty much there.
Yeah, we keep getting more content. This hasn't happened yet. You can exclude like words and phrases. Like, so for example, managing again, another much bigger sort of Facebook and Instagram account as part of my work. We can ban up to 1,000 words and phrases from being used in comments. So obviously we can ban certain people, but it's a bit whack-a-mole to do it that way. But if you notice that, crypto is being used in your comments and you don't talk anything about crypto, you can just ban that word entirely. And then the other thing that I'm seeing is that people don't expect you to see anything in particular. So I saw a video of a dog that loves Shania Twain, and what everyone did in the comments was tagged Shania Twain in it. So I think some of that is saying, okay, if I'm meant to see something, I will be tagged enough in it that I will get the notification that I will see it if it's on another platform. So I think I still want this to happen. It's not happening yet, and the messages just keep coming in at a higher and higher volume. It's I don't know. I keep thinking we can't get any more, but in terms of managing messages, but it's crazy.
So I think what is going to be offered to individual, users, or maybe us as small business owners, is a way to filter maybe the social media feeds or the messages that we're getting, because it's just getting to be too much to be responsive, and I think a lot of us are really feeling that.
Jessica moved to a full-time role after this, and one of the first things I assigned her was to check our clients' comments and messages on social media. I think this was really weighing on me at this point. Oh my God, my pause finger is
So we see
terrible.
that, on Facebook, we can have, if I follow someone, I can get notifications from them. So I can choose to kind of see when they post something. I see that on Twitter. I can have lists, that kind of thing. So we started seeing that a little bit, but I think it's going to get more aggressive because as the amount of content increases, people's bandwidth is not increasing at the same speed. So if companies want
Oh, poor past Nicole is overwhelmed.
people
I want
to
to hug
kind of
her.
engage more with the platform or see more of what they want to see, they're going to create ways for people either to personalize their own messages and stuff that they're getting, or maybe it's going to be more algorithmic like TikTok's For You page. I don't know, but I just see that there's going to be more filtering because just
I think, yeah, basically we just started caring a little bit less. Like if you have a video go viral and you have 100,000 views on it and you've gotten 10,000 comments, there is no way you can manage those comments as just a normal person, right? So I think most people, like even if I post my Shania Twain loving dog, I don't assume Shania Twain is going to see it unless like 100 people tag her in it and she gets so many notifications about the video that she has to go see it.
just the amount of messages we're getting is just not an amount that we can keep up with forever. Now, this other one is sort of a more fun prediction, but and also, I will say not the parts of this will apply to everyone and parts of this won't apply to everybody, but I see that the whole online video dating and networking is going to start happening. So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about those like 1980s, VHS tapes were like, "Hi, I'm Bob, and if you smoke, get out of here because I think that's gross." It's like a 3-minute video of like some guy talking. So I think as the pandemic has made it harder to date or network, and as people just kind of want to cut to the chase of like, okay, are we going to get along or not? Video is an excellent way to get a feel for somebody, like whether you might like them or not. And I think most things I think it's more natural to see these some of these adaptations or whatever in dating before we see them in business networking. It's almost like so on Bumble right now, you can record voice messages with the questions or the prompts on your profile. So you could listen to a guy sort of talk his answer to the question, rather than just reading it. And I think we're going to start seeing kind of short form video as a way for people to meet each other and connect, whether that's in a business sense or in a more personal sense. So I know that one of my colleagues was telling me that there's this service called Hippo, which allows you to record video messages within LinkedIn. I think we're going to just see more of that. There's going to be video introductions or sort of short video things that people can watch and get a sense of who you are as a business owner, as a potential life partner. And I think we're going to just see this more. I don't know whether it's going to be built into the dating platforms or whether there's going to be kind of third party companies.
I guess what I was expecting partially is in LinkedIn, I would get a video message from someone introducing themselves. But now that I see the turn that LinkedIn has kind of done in the last year or so, I wouldn't necessarily assume those video messages were entirely professional, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think this is kind of a miss past Nicole. I see where you're going though. I do see that I was invited to an in-person networking event in March. And the idea of paying $75 and driving 2 hours each way to go to it made me roll my eyes into my head. Like, who would want to do that when I could just do it on video? And maybe other people are feeling that way too. And it has to go from that feeling to someone coming up with a way to sort of systematize this.
Companies like Hippo is working, with the LinkedIn messages to start having this functionality. But I see it being a much more efficient way to meet people. And so I think we're going to see that happen. And the other kind of thing that I feel like we're seeing is before GDPR, which is a law that was passed in Europe a couple of years ago and now is in effect in California as of the beginning part of last year, is that people, we've all been tracked for a really long time and our data is being sold, but people are going to be able to, or there's going to be backlash about that, like there has been, and they're going to want to opt out of tracking. And so what I think is going to happen is, so we have iPhones where people are opting out of tracking. We have, GDPR compliance currently in California, probably expanding to other states soon, where if people say they want to stop being tracked, we actually have to stop tracking them. Um, so I think that companies are going to increasingly rely on more old school marketing approaches, letting their customers either give their email.
Yeah, and I think, Twitter is cracking down. Okay, Elon Musk is cracking down on, like, people tracking his private jet, for example. I think that as these platforms become more and more deregulated, or I don't know what word I want to use here, but as the platforms become more maybe unstable or unreliable, I think people are going to look for reliable methods of marketing like email and text marketing. I think this is increasingly true.
Email address or give their phone number and be able to reach out to them that way. So, like, for example, when I was shopping for holiday gifts, and by the way, and I'm not saying this to be virtuous, I was on a lot of different e-commerce sites buying stuff in the last few weeks because I've been trying to buy from small businesses. I use Amazon to find the business, then I go to the business's website and try to buy it from there. And
what's funny is this year I did 80% of my shopping in real life. I went to a regional holiday market. I visited one of my clients in real life and did some shopping there. I ordered from one of my clients' websites that I was building to show her how it worked. And then I think I went to TJ Maxx to get like 4 or 5 more things that I just needed to fill a couple of stockings. But I did most of my shopping in real life this year, which is kind of funny.
And I have been about 80% successful in this. And like I said, I'm not saying this to be whatever. I'm just saying I've gone on a lot of different e-commerce websites in the last 2 weeks and bought stuff for that reason. And what was interesting is one of the websites, it said, put in your email address for 10% off. Then after I did that, they said, put in your phone number for 10 more percent off. And I was like, this is so interesting. They're getting both. And they're willing to offer a sort of financial incentive for you to give it. And I think the reason is that companies see that they're not going to be able to retarget as easily in the future. And so they're going to have to reach out to customers the old fashioned way. And the easiest way to do that, obviously, is to get their direct contact information, whether, like I said, it works better as an email newsletter or a text, or in the case of the company that I'm both.
Yeah, I've seen companies that want both too.
And it kind of like freaked me out for a second, but I thought, okay, I can see why they're doing this. And I think we're going to see more of it. So we're going to see more sort of aggressive, and by aggressive, I mean, whatever they asked me. It's not like they made me do it or something, but we're going to see an increasing ask for, us to give our email addresses and our phone numbers when we buy things on websites, because these companies are no longer going to have the marketing data that they're going to be able to use in addition to that. And this is my last prediction. And I think it's a really good idea. And I think how it's executed will be really important. But I think if it's a well executed, it's going to be
prepare your hearts. This is where I'm really wrong.
Really big. So, Clubhouse, right, is an app, audio only, that launched first for iPhones and then it launched everybody like 6 months later. And if you've never been on Clubhouse, what it is there's different rooms, and you can go into a room and you can listen to people talking. And there's different kind of tiers of participation. There's the people who are like sort of like the panelists or the speakers. And then there's like a second row that's like, oh, here are people who are friends with the people who are speaking. And then there's a third tier of everybody else. And so obviously, mostly I'm everybody else in most rooms. And here is what I think about Clubhouse. So I know that it seems like I talk a lot because you watch me on video and I'm talking. But if we're in a group, I kind of wait for my turn. I'm looking for nonverbal cues that someone is done speaking or that they look toward me or something before I speak. And what I feel about Clubhouse is, those people who seem to completely ignore those cues and just talk anyway, those are the people who are on Clubhouse.
Yes.
Because it's like, I don't know.
Yes. I still dislike Clubhouse for this reason. And I really liked the structure of this thing I'm about to talk about. And I will tell you why it didn't work after we listen to Past Nicole.
There's only so long you can hear people kind of yell talking at each other with like not much organization to it. And so it was one of those things where I liked the idea of Clubhouse, but like the execution didn't really speak to me. I really tried it.
Also, only releasing it to iPhone users, I think, was a big mistake. I think they should have released it to everybody. I think it would have grown a lot faster and gotten a lot more traction.
For like a week, and I was like, I cannot like this. And so I saw this alternative called Solve, and they seem like relatively small, but I think it's going to be a big deal. And what it is that
it is not a big deal.
Are organized topics. You're going to like solve a problem, I guess. And there are panelists. They're between, there's a moderator and there's between 2 and 3 panelists. And I both attended one and then I recorded one to just sort of understand how they were working. And it's really cool. Like you basically, there's this kind of timed thing, and each panelist gets an equal amount of time. And the moderator is sort of keeping things organized. And so each solve is like 15 minutes long. So like there's sort of the, there's the opening remarks from the moderator that's like a minute. And then each panelist gets 1 to 2 minutes. And then there's a question. Each panelist gets 1 to 2 minutes. And then there's closing thoughts. And then each panelist gets 1 to 2 minutes. So like, it's just super organized. And it's also short, and it's also audio only. And I keep mentioning the whole, like, we're going to meet people on video and there's going to be live streaming or whatever. There's going to be a certain amount of fatigue to that with all the Zoom meetings and everything like that. So
I have one meeting a week, and it's me and one of my colleagues who does video production. And we do a Zoom, but we both keep our cameras off. It is one of my favorite meetings of the week for that reason.
I think there is a place in the market for an audio only experience. And I think that this company is going to do really well. So I'm going to predict that because it's taken the kind of good idea of Clubhouse in terms of an audio format that involves people talking to each other, and it has organized it, which I personally
and then appreciate. It blew it up.
So those are my hot takes. I'd love to hear what you think about that.
Okay. I think this is just me wrapping up. All right. So I'm going to tell you my solve story. Hopefully it won't feel too much like you're attending a therapy session with me here, but I feel like I was baited and switched here. The idea was good. There's a topic. There are subject matter experts. It's organized. It's listenable. You can make playlists and all of that. I thought it was great. So in December, I was like, you know what? I'm going to commit. After this broadcast, I was like, I'm going to commit to Solve because I think it's a great idea and I want to support the people who are launching this idea. And so I said, I'm going to do a daily Solve for 30 days. And so I had this thing I was like, I want to call it Mark It Up. So I was like, okay, Mark It Up March or Mark It Up May, because that's kind of like works. And I thought, like, okay, they were still beta testing at this point. They were still recording stuff in Zoom. They weren't recording stuff in app yet. So I said, you know what? I'm going to schedule this for May. We're going to give them time to figure out the bugs. I'm going to have time to meet people and invite them to join and all of that. So I scheduled a daily solve through the entire month of May of last year. So Mark It Up May, TikTok edition, Twitter edition, Facebook edition, email marketing edition. Like I went through search engine, I had all of these marketing topics that I wanted to talk about as it related to small business. So I scheduled them way ahead of time. And within a couple of days, I had people who were like, oh, so-and-so wants to be a panelist. I'm like, great. So I was able to fill up about half of them. And what I didn't realize until it happened to me was there was one of them, for example, I think it was Twitter. No, it wasn't Twitter. What was it? I forget. It was one of the first week of ones. No one signed up. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go and I'm just going to do the broadcast myself. So I go in the app, it's counting down, and then I go, and then it, 3, 2, 1, and then I go to start it. And it's like, your thing has been canceled because no other panelists signed up. Okay, like I had blocked off the time and everything, and I had all my talking points ready. I don't know why they didn't just let me do it. It was scheduled, and no one had signed up for it. Now, at least 4 times, the panelists I did have didn't show up. And because I didn't have their contact information, because it's all through the app, I couldn't really call them. So all I could do was like, I was in the little green room area, like waiting for it to start, and they weren't there yet. And it's counting down to 45 seconds before the start. So I'm like pinging them on the app, but unless they had notifications turned on and the app installed, they weren't going to get them. And so yeah, and people would email me the next day and be like, "Oh, sorry, I like was walking my dog." And it's like, "Okay, like you're the one who signed up for this." Like I was just really annoyed that like these strangers would flake out on me. I don't know why I was surprised, but anyway, so this is what's happening in May. Now, back up in March of 2021. So I have all my solves scheduled. I have people, who have started to sign up. I'm excited. They launched an NFT. And I was like, "Oh, I see. Social podcasting, but really this is a front for an NFT." So this is Solve's website now. The Modernist NFT was put on the website around March of last year. And I was like, ugh. But like, it doesn't show really that this is a listening type thing, right? Like, this doesn't really, looking at this, you're like, oh, I can listen to a library of social insights. And it's like this network thing, and it's all Web3, blockchain, NFTs, cryptocurrency. Like it's a bunch of like douchebaggy content collected. And as you see, there's 822 solves. Well, 15 or 20 of those are mine because that's what ended up being able to be published. So 822 in a year is kind of, I don't know, meh. But if I would have known they were going to pivot to do NFT crypto douchebag stuff, I wouldn't have like wanted to necessarily build on that platform. But I feel like maybe that's what the investors wanted, and that's what won out in the end. Just my opinion. So yeah, that's Solve. And I understand, like sometimes things change, right? You're a startup, you pivot, but I feel like I was told it was going to be one thing, and then that thing was entirely de-emphasized for an NFT, which like, really? Really? And I'm going to save my 2023 predictions for another video, mainly because this video is getting longish, but also because I want to be able to watch my predictions next year in isolation from reacting to the past year. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any gurus or topics that you want me to react to, please leave it as a comment on this video, or if you're more shy, you can use the contact form of my website. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to 1,000 so I can monetize the channel. And I would really appreciate it. Everybody counts at this point, and I'm almost at 500, which is really cool. If you want to see past archives of Nicole Reacts, you can go to the Nicole Reacts playlist on YouTube. Or if you go on the website, in the blog section, there's a Nicole Reacts category, and you'll see them all there. So thanks for going down memory lane with me, and I'll see you in the next video where I make my 2023 predictions that I'm sure I will react to at the end of the year. All right, have a great rest of your day, and see you next time. Take care.